After the entrance was created and the first two major coasters made their way into Cedar Cove, I held a competition where the top 3 entries would get added into the park, and now they're finally here. Welcome to the biggest expansion Cedar Cove has seen yet, the Coaster Competition winners. Welcome back to Cedar Cove. This is a very exciting episode, and definitely the episode that's going to change the park the most, at least have the most change we've seen so far, because this is the episode where the competition winners are going to be placed in the park. 3 new coasters in one episode is absolutely crazy, and I'm really excited to see how this completely transforms the look of the park. Last episode I built the Premier Rides multi-launch LSM coaster. Everyone really seemed to like it. There was a few comments about certain aspects of the coaster. As you can see, we have lost a car on the coaster. I did kind of want to address this. Just because we haven't seen a Premier Rides LSM coaster with 4 cars on a train before doesn't mean it can't happen. Which is why I tried to do it with this. Although since switching it to 3 cars, I do think that the pacing works a bit better now, with the train being a bit lighter. So yeah, that's sort of where I stand on that. I've done a few little upgrades, such as adding this entrance sign, which I'll put the blueprint workshop thing on the screen now. I do really like it. I've made a couple of tweaks to it, and I still need to change the height so that it appears in meters and not inches, because this park is in Europe. I don't know where. But yeah, I really like that. And then I've made a few tweaks to the profiling of the stall as well, because there was a couple of people that mentioned that was a bit too snappy, and I do agree. But that's not what this episode's about. This episode is about the competition winners, and I'm going to start to be putting them in sort of in reverse order. In 3rd place, we have the corkscrew. And here it is. This is where I've decided to place it in the park. I knew I wanted this coaster to be somewhat close to the entrance, because I thought that when the park was originally made, this would have been one of its earliest coasters. So I thought it kind of makes sense having it positioned near the entrance, so it can sort of be like a part of the original park. So I'd imagine the original park would have been a lot smaller than the absolute behemoth of a park we have today. But yeah, this is what it sort of looked like at the moment on the skyline and where I've positioned it. I do need to do a bit of landscaping work to try and make it fit here, because this park does have a fair bit of terrain going on, but I really like the placement of it. I like how it's a bit higher up, so it makes the ride look even taller. You get some nice views of it from across the park, as it's sort of like valleys in the middle. And then yeah, you've got all of the pathway interaction that's going on underneath as well, which I'm going to copy over in a second. And then I need to link it somehow to the rest of the park as well, to make it feel like quite fluid, and that it sort of fits in. I'm thinking sort of an entrance down by the side of the dive loop for the Premier Rides coaster, and that'll sort of fit nicely there. And then obviously later in the episode I will add in the other 2 coasters in this park once this one has all of its theming and stuff brought across and is sort of nicely woven in and integrated nicely into the area around it. I'll see you in a minute. Right then, update 2 of many in this episode. This is just going to be a quick update, showing you sort of where we're at the moment with this coaster, but here we are. It's looking a lot nicer how it's integrated in. As it's sort of happened with every coaster in this park so far, the foliage definitely makes it. It really softens it, and just look at that. It's an incredible looking coaster that the creator has made here, but yeah, I just love it. It fits the park absolutely perfectly. It's the perfect classic coaster that I think it needed to sort of ground it in a bit more realism, and sort of you can tell where the park started and where it is now. It sort of gives it like a bit of a history and a bit of a timeline going on. The only sort of slight problem I have with the layout of this is how to integrate the pathwork up to it, but I will work around that. I've sort of got a few ideas as to how I can link it to the main park, specifically with a little access route here. I'm thinking down the side of this dive loop, which will actually be a good thing, because this is where the entrance is sort of to this ride's plaza, because it'll get you some nice views of this, and it would sort of make sense as well with the restaurant building that I mentioned in the previous episode being here before the Premier Rides coaster was. It sort of fits as we're going up the back of the hill here, so it will all lead nicely through once I've sorted that out. But look at that view. This coaster is just incredible. I really, really like it. Like I said, it is the perfect classic coaster for this park, and I'm so glad that it won a spot here in the park in the competition, because it just works. I love all of the custom supports going over the path there as well. It's a very unique layout, which is what I love. all of the coasters in Cedar Cove I want to be like really unique and special, and like I said, this one just fit absolutely perfectly. I have put in a bit of an access road around the side of it and the back of it as well, the little road there leading down into this coaster's service area, which is beautifully detailed, by the way. Look, even there's detail in the maintenance shed, incredible. But yeah, I really like the look of that. I love how it's all like slightly damaged and aged up as well. It looks really cool. And then this maintenance road leads around to here to the rest of the park to service all of the other coasters that will be coming in the future as well. But yeah, really happy with this. I will move on to the next coaster now as we integrate that into the park. Right, update number 3, and we've had some changes going on. One of the most notable ones you will probably notice right away, but I'll come to in a second. But I am really loving how this park is coming together. We had the coaster from last episode, which, like I mentioned earlier, has now gone down to 3 cars. And it works better. It does work better. I've obviously mentioned about reprofiling this stall as well. I'm in fear of saying the same thing over again. I do need to watch back the clips before I record the next one. But yeah, pretty happy with the way that this area sits now. And I mentioned last episode I was sort of struggling with making it feel a bit more realistic and having more stuff going on. I will add more buildings into the surrounding area in this episode because that definitely needs to happen. But as for the rest of the area, you'll notice we have these support columns in. What do they lead to? A sky ride. There is now a sky ride in the park. I definitely wanted some sort of transportation system. Just ignore that massive drop tower over there. I was testing heights. I definitely wanted a transportation system in the park, and this just felt right, specifically for how it looks on the skyline. I wanted to give a bit more visual interest and a bit more movement on the skyline, and this just worked perfectly. After all, I did just go on the Alton Towers one a couple of weeks ago, and I thought, you know what would be perfect for Cedar Cove? This. It just works. I like the section that goes over that gardens bit that I've made there as well, and then it leads over here. This is what the corkscrew is looking like at the moment. I'm really happy with the way this is integrated. Even just with the different pathwork changes, it really gives you an indication of like what was here at different points in history. I like it. I added a bit of stone on the wall. You've got this path that comes up right next to the dive loop of the Premier Rides coaster, which I love. You've got these little like planters integrated into this pathway, and it brings you up here into the corkscrew plaza. I still have a few bits of fencing to finish off around here to blend the two together, but yeah, I love the look of this, and I'm quite glad that we've got a different like mix and range of materials going on, because like I said, it really like sort of tells you a bit of a story about the age of the park and when different areas were built. I've added a few more backstage buildings as well. I just thought this park, like especially with the size of it, would need multiple backstage areas, so I've added a couple of these around to make the park really feel a lot more like realistic and lived in and lively. As for the corkscrew, beautifully presented. I love how it's so nicely integrated into the park. This helix here, or the turn at least, was just crying out for such a feature to be made of it, and I think kind of coming out of the gardens sort of undercovered forest area that I've made there, to see that works really well. As for the next coaster to come into the park, which is the second place creation, Apex, which was a Gerstlauer Infinity coaster, I actually want to try something a little bit sort of interesting with this, and there is precedent behind it, so it is realistic. So I'm thinking about placing it here. Obviously I will remove that raised up part, but I am also thinking of bringing the sky ride through it. This has been done before. I cannot remember the name, but it's a green Gerstlauer Infinity coaster that does this. You'll probably all remind me of what it's called in the comments. Or at least I think it used to do this. I don't know whether it still does anymore. I don't know. I think the cable car ride, sky ride in this park has actually been taken out since, which must be so annoying for the designers of the ride, because they like purposely designed around it, and then now to have that ride removed must have been so annoying. But yeah, that's sort of what I'm thinking, to bring it through that element there, because you do want this element that my cursor's near now to be directly above it, because at that point you are on top of the track instead of below it, just about there. So that's about the furthest you're going to get away from it, and then whether the clearance for this element here is enough, I'm yet to find out. But yeah, that sort of works like that. That's what I'm thinking. I like how it kind of juts up against the maintenance building in the back there as well. But yeah, I'm really intrigued to see how this coaster sits sort of here as well. And as you'll notice, I do have quite a big space in front of it here, which I will hopefully add in some, I don't know, maybe a seating area, a couple of shops, buildings, restaurants, that sort of thing, to give the park a bit more interest other than just the coasters. But yeah, I'll get back to you for update 4 once I've done that. This will be the final update before I do the tour, and as you can see, a lot has changed, but do not worry, a lot more is going to change. This park, I feel like, is at a really nice point now where we're really starting to get the vibe of what I was going for, and there's so much more to come. But as you can see, this area has been developed quite a bit more, and I'm so happy with it. I really like the way how it's turned into just sort of a nice mix and like mash of attractions and stuff. This area here will be the next episode when the next coaster comes in. The next coaster from me, that is. There's a couple more guest creators that I've got in mind as well, and obviously the competition stuff for this episode. This park's actually turned into quite a nice collection of work from different people, which has been really nice to see. There's this seating area down here with another toilets. I've really tried to put in more facilities, which obviously I still need to do a lot more of. This park still has quite the lack of buildings. Got the awesome corkscrew coaster there, and then we have the Gerstlauer Infinity coaster here. Really like the look of this. It fits this like shape of the land perfectly, and I love how you got the cable car running through it as well. I don't know why it's not running at the moment, but there you go. You can see the coaster going down like beyond vertical drop and then into that really cool double inversion there. I love that. I just love the path interaction around this as well. It's a really nice blueprint if you find it on the workshop. But lovely custom supports as well, and then I like these, like, it's got sort of like little islands where the ride area is, and then like cut up. I'm doing hand gestures but you can't see. It's like cut up by all the different parts of the path. It looks really nice. This was just all like sand down here, but I've made a little water feature in the middle because I think this part of the layout was probably intended to be like the back of house portion, but I've made it a bit more of a feature there. And then I'm going to cover up the back of the station with some planting too, so that kind of leads round. I added a flat ride in here as well. I need to go around the park in general, just add a few more flat rides and, like I said earlier, buildings. Facilities is something I really struggle with to work out what's needed. This will be a food unit, like a quick service place, so I need to finish detailing that, and then that'll be this sort of area done before it continues round into the back of the park and comes out more towards the water here, which, as you can see, this is the next coaster. Really happy with this. This is the competition winner, which was Grizzly Unchained, our RMC hybrid coaster. Really love the look of this. Again, the sky car, what's it called? That thing that goes through it. I love how beautifully landscaped it is as well. There was already a bit of terrain at the back of this part of the park, but it just nestles into the hillside really nicely, and I've put like different trees at the back and sort of growing up the back of the hillside there. I love how that just goes through that part of the truss structure. Looks amazing. It just works. It ties all the different parts of the park together as well. The sky ride, you get some great views on there, especially while the coaster's running. And yeah, like, I love all the interaction here. That little like mound over the stall there, that was already there, and it just fit perfectly. And then obviously all of that custom supporting, it really gives it a nice presence here, puts it on display for how incredible it looks. So just a very nice looking coaster, and then you can see the station here for this part of the sky ride. You get a great view there as you go off down to that part of the park. Look at the view from inside one of the cabins. That looks so cool. But yeah, that is pretty much all for this episode. I have put in another seating area down here as well where you can watch the coaster going around. It's probably one of my favourite views of the coaster actually. Get a great view of the whole layout. Just imagine sitting here. This will probably be a quick service unit or a full restaurant, but this will come later in the series when I work my way around the lake to get back down to the start of the park near the wing coaster. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way that looks. Obviously this is quite far separated from the rest of the park, but eventually over the course of the series we'll connect these with loads of different attractions and everything until this series will be nearly complete. I reckon this is episode 4. Obviously next episode is that coaster there. I think we've got quite a few more episodes left of this. I'm thinking at least 10 episodes for this series. We'll see how many more we can get, because I do want to start another project series as well. Welcome to the final update for Cedar Cove episode 4. I know this episode has definitely been a long time in the coming, but it's finally here now, and I am so excited. The park has expanded bigger than it ever has throughout the previous episodes. Obviously, in the second episode we had Antonio's incredible wing coaster. The third episode we have my Premier Rides LSM coaster. And the park is just now completely blown up with 3 more additions. You can see the first over there, the Vekoma corkscrew coaster. Then we have the Gerstlauer Infinity off at the back, the sky ride that you can see going around, and the RMC hybrid coaster all the way at the back left of the park there. But yeah, it is expanding at quite a rapid rate, and I'm so happy. But firstly, I want to show you what I've done round near Antonio's wing coaster, because I've added quite a bit round here. I just wanted to connect it more to the area with my Skyride station. So yeah, there's been a few changes, and I'm pretty happy with the way that this looks. Obviously this area was just stunning anyway. I love how modern and clean it looks. So I've added a little flat ride down here. I think the park needs some more flat rides, so I've added this one in called Little Guardian. The coaster's called Guardian. This is a Zamperla Nebulous. I don't know whether that ride name will stay, but I thought it was quite funny. I just really like how it's positioned here, sort of in between this gap between the wing over drop and the loop. Fits quite nicely, got enough room for a queue there as well, and I've added a few more planters and extended the pathway to approach our like sort of entrance station for the Skyride. Quite a lot of queuing down here. Great views down there as well. I added another gift shop at the back of the park there. Obviously the Skyride goes all the way back there and all the way across the other side of the park, connecting like the main 3 areas. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way this looks. The pathwork as well looks great around here, because the update 7 has brought us the like squared off paths, so that just looks really good. Oh, look at the wing coaster. See it flying around. That view never gets old. I love the look of it. It's incredible. Yeah, so obviously the Skyride brings you all the way around the park, all the places you need to go. So yeah, great for accessibility. Then you've got a ramp to exit down from there towards the main entrance, which we will go to now to see the new additions. Oh, quickly down here first actually. I've added another seating and quick service area next to the Skyride. I just thought this space was kind of crying out for something other than just landscaping. So yeah, I've added that there, and then you can see the Skyride station dispatching to go across the river, or like more of a lake really in the middle of the park, which I've built this bridge across. I can't remember whether the bridge was in last time. That flat ride and this sort of area here will be developed next episode, but I'll talk more about that later. You can see the Premier Rides coaster there. There's a lot more like cool views you can get from ground level. I need to do more ground level stuff in this park, like when I'm touring you through it and everything. So all of that ramp work and stairs there you can see on your left will be developed next episode. So that is something to be very excited for, because that coaster I've put a lot of work into and I love it. But talking about a coaster that I also love, here is our Arrow multi-looper. I absolutely love this ride. It sits really well in the park. I've extended the pathway a little bit around here from this sort of garden space that we had. You come up next to the dive loop of the Premier Rides coaster. I love how those custom supports are now like fully on display. And you come up here into this plaza with the corkscrew coaster. This is a great ride, and I'm so happy that it can be now in the park from one of our competition winners. Lovely custom supporting, great, very realistic layout, and it feels like it would be a very like pioneering coaster for Arrow at the time, and it just looks really nice. You've got all the very classic looking area around the attraction as well. I like how there's a couple of buildings that like the gift shop there on the left, which is now closed. It just sort of like adds a little bit of lore to the rest of the park, and you've got the 2 huge interlocking corkscrews over the pathway there. It just looks fantastic. It's such a presentation piece. This creator has definitely thought about those important sight lines as you approach and walk around the coaster, and I just love that. Got this really long sprawling queue line here which threads between the track and all of this really established foliage. Obviously the coaster's been here quite a while, so it would make sense that all of the foliage is really big and like all the trees are developed and everything. So as we come up to the platform for the Arrow corkscrew, you've got some great backstage area detail there, and then all your row numbers and everything. I really like this station building. It's very nice, feels very classic, and you get some great views out of it as well. Look at that. Should we go for a ride? I think we should. I'll give you a full POV for this ride. Very excited to get back on it and see all of the developments that have happened around it. Let's go. There we go, that was your Arrow Corkscrew, simply named Corkscrew, and I am so happy with it. It's the perfect classic coaster to be at this side of the park, and I quite like how it's close to the entrance as well, because you can sort of get a grasp for how the park has expanded over the years, and this would have been one of the earlier really big thrill attractions to be at the front of the park. And yeah, I just really like the way it looks. I think this sort of aesthetic would have probably carried around the rest of the park, and obviously the main entrance has been recently developed to add the new entrance building and Antonio's wing coaster. But yeah, just look at the views you get from around here, and it's obviously slowly connects into a more modern area in which we have this food unit in the middle there, some seating down here with a lot more foliage and big established trees like I mentioned before, another toilets unit, and I've added this flat ride in too, just about adding capacity and interest to the park. So there's a lot more like varied attractions. This queue will definitely need some sort of covering from the sun. I'll need to go in and add that. And then around here we have Apex, it's a Vekoma then, Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster. Again, really happy with this. It's a beautifully smooth ride. It's such a statement piece, but my favourite part about this coaster is the path interaction. There is so much path interaction everywhere. This creator definitely took like building a whole area around the attraction very literally, and I love that. It just adds so much interest, and even for non-riders to just appreciate the coaster. From watching it off-ride, you can see how impressive it is, and like diving in around all the paths. And I like all of the foliage as well, obviously in contrast to the very older coaster over there. This foliage is a lot more new and less established. It's like a lot more neat as well, and yeah, I just really like the way it looks. Got a bit of a backstage area as well, which this coaster does go up against. It sort of feels like it was almost designed for this back plot of the park, like just with the way the pathways and maintenance areas worked already, and then access the sky ride down there. But obviously this part of the park wasn't even built yet. It just fits in so nicely. But I just really like how there's parts of the coaster that are framed by the pathways that go around them. It's just like little islands of coaster area with the paths in between. I love doing that in parks. I really need to do that a lot more often, probably in future projects. I don't really want to sort of mimic that in the rest of Cedar Cove because this coaster does it so well, but yeah, I'm really happy with this. Long queue line for this ride, but obviously it makes sense. Gerstlauer Infinity Coasters, especially the ones with only 2 rows, aren't the highest capacity rides in the world, so it does make sense. But yeah, I really like the look of this. Just look at all the mess of track everywhere. It's a beautifully smooth ride, really well custom supported too, and you can see the drop there through the skylight in the station roof. I love that. But yeah, let's go for a ride. And there we go, that was Apex, Cedar Cove's Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster. Like I said, I absolutely love this ride. Just the whole aesthetic of the area around it, it's so photogenic, and all of the custom supports and everything, and especially the path interaction. That is the single part of this blueprint and like coaster that I love the most. The path interaction is just masterful. As you come around here, obviously they've got the pathway changes sort of. This is sort of like my main circulation pathway colour that I've got at the moment. I tried to like keep the path colours separate for the like uses. Sort of it helps up break the area and more subconsciously helps the guest navigate, I found, in a way. You'll find a lot of parks do this in real life, but this is sort of like my main circulation pathway colour. Great views off over there, and you can just see the RMC through the trees. But this area, like I mentioned, will be home to next episode's coaster. It's a really big coaster, very happy with it so far. Fully custom supported, 4 meter smooths and everything. I built it quite a while ago actually, but I'm like only just now getting around to building the area around it, but I'm unbelievably happy with how that's turned out, and it fits in quite nicely with that giant Huss frisbee as well. So we will make our way around to this episode's final coaster, which is our actual competition winner itself, which was Grizzly Unchained, our RMC hybrid coaster. You can just see it, oh I say just see it, you zoom in, you can see all of it, but you can see it poking out over the trees around it over there. This is quite a well landscaped area. I think the creator mentioned that this would have been a wooden coaster before, and like called Grizzly, and it's now Unchained, it's been RMC'd. So it does make sense that all the landscaping would be a lot more established around here, and the way that I've placed it, it did just quite nicely fit up against this like kind of steep backing to the hill for some of the terrain that I'd added in the park. It just fit really nicely there, and I've added a few more trees around it as well to sort of blend it into this area, and then you have the sky ride that goes like through the lift hill structure truss. That is a lovely view. I think I've seen that view from Pathway before. Anyway, got another Cedar Gifts unit down here, just like the one over at the entrance, but yeah, look at that. The approach from it is awesome. It's so menacing looking. But yeah, this is one of those like slightly smaller RMC hybrid coasters. It's not a hyper, but just it's got such like presence at the back of the park, and I love that. And the area around it's like really immersive and well landscaped, and it's very like soft and I was gonna say calming, but then you have this huge RMC coaster. This pathway will go off and connect to other areas around the park. It's stuck at the top of the lift at the moment. But I do really want to make a feature of like all the custom supporting work that the creator has done, especially towards the right side with that like inversion and the banks turn around there that you can see. I love all the custom support work on there, so I really do want to make a good feature of that with the pathway. You can get nice and close, and there is another opportunity for me to do something like that later on, which I'll show you. You can see the Skyride station going through the truss structure there right at the top of the hill. That will bring you to the back part of this park. You come down here, got a very well landscaped station. You can see all the rest of the park all the way down there. And Grizzly Unchained, what an entrance sign. I do quite like that this is really separated because it just shows like the scale of the park that I'm going to be making. That inversion there is so cool as well. I love the profiler. But yeah, you can really see like how much is still left to do in this park. There is a lot of land we can cover with all sorts of different coasters. This was really just my playground park. When like Planet Coaster 2 was announced, I knew that all these new coaster types they were adding into the game, I wanted to do a huge amusement park to just really like test all these different coasters and just have fun with it, which is exactly what Cedar Cove is for. So this coaster fits in perfectly, just like the other two do as well. But yeah, let's go for a ride. Really enjoy this one. Enjoy. That was Grizzly Unchained, and the final coaster for this episode of Cedar Cove. We are 4 episodes into this series, and this park has already expanded so much, and we're less than halfway through. I want to get at least 10 episodes out of this series, maybe even more. Because I have to admit, much like any project, I suppose, in this game, but especially this park because of the sheer scale of it and how like daunting it is, my enthusiasm for it like goes up and down all the time, and there's days where I don't want to work on it because it's just sort of getting too overwhelming with the scale of it, as you can see, and then there's other days where I have the absolute joy of putting in the competition winners coasters like this, and just seeing the impact that it has to the park just makes me so excited about the future of it, because there's so much more space. There's so many more coasters I can add. Like I said, there are a few more creators which will be adding coasters into the park as well, which will be really exciting, and I just can't wait to see this park's future. Like, I don't want to rush it. I kind of want it to let it breathe and let the coasters and the park develop as it wants, but obviously I have got other projects I want to move on to, so it's a developing process to see the future of this park, but I'm really excited to fill all this space with loads more amazing attractions and coasters. But yeah, that's the end of this episode. I really hope you've enjoyed it. One of my favourite episodes of this series so far, and there are so much more to come. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video or episode of Cedar Cove, and if you've liked what you've seen and you're not already subscribed, that would mean the world to me if you could. We are so close to 21k. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.